Hello, I'm recording this intro after the fact because I didn't give him a good intro during the interview. His name is Joel Haver. He's a friend that I've had for a little over a year now, maybe 2 years or so. He's a filmmaker who's been making videos for about 4 years now. He's made over like 400 different movies, short films, and like maybe 7 or so features. Recently, he sort of blew up with some animations that he did, and so I just wanted to talk to him to catch up and see how he is reacting to the whole situation. Yeah, so here's my conversation with Joel Haver, and also subscribe, I guess. How are you?
I'm good. I've been pretty busy, as you can imagine. I went from 3,000 to 500,000 subscribers in like 2 months, not even 2 months. So that's been pretty crazy.
Yeah, yeah. Are you in?
Yeah.
Are you in New York?
No, I'm living back home in Massachusetts right now.
Okay, cool, cool.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. Have things been like kind of okay there? Like, have you just been there for all of COVID?
No, because I have a video about it on my channel, but essentially I had this apartment that I lived in, and that. It was in the older videos. You probably saw it, but I had that for a couple of years, and it was a family friend's place, but we lost it. My dad passed away a year ago, and it was only left to us as long as he was alive. So around August, September, they finally kicked me out. but yeah. But I've been living back home since, and waiting for the next move, which is sooner now that I could actually financially support myself and do something comfortably. So I just got to figure out what that is.
Yeah, yeah. Do you think that you'll
Yeah.
want to stay in New York, or are you gonna move elsewhere?
No, I lived in New York for 6 years, and I realized pretty quickly I'm not a city person. I I enjoy it as a place to visit, but living there is just so draining. Especially like spending like 6 months in COVID there. Like it's like all the bad parts of a city, but none of the good ones with COVID. Because you can't go out. There's no nightlife, no movies, no comedy clubs. It's kind of a yeah. I miss karaoke. I love karaoke. I would. That's what I miss the most.
But so I guess I just wanted to talk a little bit more about the, you know, crazy amount of success that you saw recently. Like 500 500,000 subs just, in a month is
Yeah. It's
remarkable, and like kind of like calling it life changing would probably be an understatement. Would you? What do you say?
Yeah, I think it's pretty life changing, and I'm a pretty optimistic guy. So I spent years. You've been around for a long time. I know you've always been checking out my stuff for like probably 2 years now, or at least. Uh, yeah, give or take. And I love your stuff, by the way. Before we get into the interview, I just want to say I hope we have more Will Barker green screen masterpieces coming, because those are really fun. I really love those.
They absolutely will.
Yeah. You create a really fun little world where inhabited just by you.
Yeah, yeah.
Lots.
That's why I like the
Yeah.
world building. It feels fun.
Yeah. Yeah. So I hope to see more of that. But yeah, so I've been doing this for years, and I've really started doing the weekly like 2 years ago, where I was uploading every week. And me and my friends, we just did it for the fun of it, but we always knew like we're making great stuff. Eventually, this stuff will be seen, and I wouldn't say that kept us going, because I'm somebody who would create in a bubble. Like if I just was watching my own stuff, I'd probably still make it to make myself laugh if it was just for me, but it did just the thought that like we're building this kind of gold mine of fun, different like a huge variety of skits and films, and eventually it will be like plundered, was exciting, and and I never expected it to go as big as it did. I thought like the blow up would have gotten me to 10,000 or maybe 50,000, but 500 and growing is just crazy. And almost 600, I think. But
There was a few videos. Sorry to interrupt you. There was a few videos that you did, like the black and white One where it was, I forget the exact title. It was like how every women.
How women in the old movies one, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that one sort of blew up a little bit like a long time ago and gave you like 1,000 subs, I think.
Yeah, that was my first glimpse of like some kind of audience, and that got 100,000 views. It was like on the front page of Reddit on videos, and it was I think gave me some false hope because like you know you blow up and you're like great, if I keep making stuff it's just gonna exponential, but no, there was a lot of plateaus, and that was the first one. I kind of got a thousand there, and then stuck at 1,000, went up, stuck at 1,500, went up, stuck at 2,000, and uh, yeah, but yeah, that was my most viewed for a year and a half, and like it felt like a curse by the end. Like, am I ever gonna like be able to get 100,000 views again? And but yeah, I think it's a great one. I think that's one of my even without like the success of it, I would have loved that one. I think it's really goofy, and that kind of I've done like 10 other old movie ones since then, and I just love doing that because it's a really fun style to play with, and it's very different. But
Yeah, that one
yeah,
that one is really really good. Like I remember when I first discovered your channel and I just like looked through like, oh, what's the most popular one, and I was like, it made perfect sense that like people would love this
yeah,
one. It's
yeah.
the style of it is just so perfect.
But at the same time, I was kind of shocked because I felt it might have been kind of niche, because I watched a couple old movies that week when I made it. I watched Brief Encounter, which is one of my favorite movies ever. And then I watched History is Made at Night, which wasn't as good. And those both kind of sparked it because they have the poorly written women who are like, I can't live without this man. My life is pointless, kind of thing. And of course, they're written by dudes, but they that kind of sparked it, and I thought it was pretty niche because I'm like, not many people my age watch like 40s Hollywood, like, but yeah, to see it take off was great, and I mean now it has like 1.6 million views because with the growth of the channel, obviously the biggest one got kind of thrown into the algorithm, which was fun to see.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that makes sense. What do you think it was about I think it was like the two animated ones at the same time that were sort of like bringing up your channel, the
Yeah,
RPG one and the I forget what the other one was called, but it was like the alleyway guy.
yeah, the NPCs tailing missions. Yeah, yeah. I think it's well, I've done the animated for a year now. Like I did them every now and then. But the funny thing is they took so much more work but never saw any more views than the rest of my stuff. So I never like really got the idea to like really put a lot of time into one because I'm like it takes so much effort and it doesn't, like the Galactic Emperor, Bounty Hunter, Asteroid Belt, those are my older animations, and they just sat at like a couple hundred views for a year or 6 months. So I never had the idea that like, oh, people really want these. So I felt my time was better put somewhere else. But then my friend Trent and I, who has been acting a lot of the stuff now that I'm home, uh, he and I had the RPG idea, and I was like, I'm a ambitious guy. If I have an idea and I like it, I'll do it regardless of how much it takes. So I was like, okay, this is an idea worth like pouring 40 hours into to make happen, and I did that, and but at that point I was like, I kind of learned not to expect views, which I think is a good skill to like a good shield to have. Because if you make something expecting it to blow up and it doesn't, you're really gonna get discouraged. You're gonna be like, "Damn, why is my stuff not good?" But if you kind of create for its own reward, you you'll kind of be able to take the hits as they come. Like, so I didn't expect it to blow up. I thought it would do well. I had like 3,000 subscribers at that point, and then it reached the top of Reddit, and I was like, oh shit, and it had like 100,000 views. So I already had this NPC tailing mission idea, and I had it for months, and I usually don't sit on an idea for months. but I was trying to conceptualize that one as a live action video. And I was like, damn, me and my friends just, we don't have the look to pass off as like mobsters. So I'm like, maybe I could cast some of my dad's friends. My dad has a lot of friends back home who have acted in my stuff. And I was like, they could have the look, but then like, geez, filming in cars is complicated. I'm like, oh, and it's got to be set in a city. And I was like, so I just kept pushing back the idea. Like, I'll do it when I can do it. And then once the RPG one blew up, I was like, oh shit, that could be an animated one. I could make us look like mob guys, and I could just film it like that was filmed in like a parking lot at the local park. But like, I was like, damn, I could make this look like the city and everything without any of that production nonsense. And so then I kind of hightailed that into production to get another animated one out while the other one was still getting views. And so I think there are times when you have to like make a smart move like that. Like you see like, oh, people are really connecting with this. Let's put that on the front burner. Let's do that for a second while people are watching.
Right.
And I'm rambling a lot. I'm sorry. I've kind of scattered brain.
No, it's okay.
Yeah.
I want you to ramble, or just like say as much things as you want.
Yeah.
This is
So yeah, that's just kind of I made the 2 animated in a row, and I was like, oh, there is like an audience for these animated ones, and everyone went back. I made a playlist of all the old animated ones. Everyone went back and watched the old ones, and it was like it was refreshing to see, and I think that was one of my favorite things to come of this. It's like all these years of work finally getting retroactive like appreciation, because I now it might be hard to tell, but before December, most of my videos had hundreds of views. Like very rarely did they break 1,000. Only one was over 50,000. It was like so, but now if you scroll through the channel, it's hard to find one that doesn't have 1,000, at least from the last 2 years. So seeing all that love on the old stuff was awesome. And I've had a lot of friends that are like, damn, I have one with my friend Kevin about showing a friend a video on a phone, and like that never got views, and then suddenly now it has like 400,000 views. And
I watched that one today.
Yeah, that's a funny one. But he keeps having people reach out now, like, I just saw you on YouTube. Since when do you do that? Because like no one ever like watched the stuff before, so it's a lot of people are a lot, because I just film with my friends. A lot of them don't act. A lot of them don't do like filmmaking themselves, so there's not that they don't have a community of people expecting that. So then people will just randomly be like, what the heck, you're in a YouTube video? They're like, what are you doing acting to? And that's funny to see.
Yeah, it was really remarkable. It was kind of like what you were saying, like with like talking about like your plan before you even blew up. Like you were just like, if I just keep making all of these great things that I like, eventually the right person's going to find it, and just have like just a trove of things to watch and enjoy. And so it worked. And now they, how much trickle down views like happened? Like, I don't know, like 20, 30 million, like so much. It was insane.
I know the animations are all kind of at the top there's like, I think 6 or 7 animations with 1 million views. But then I think I still, across all the videos, there's hundreds of videos, I probably still got like 10 million, 15 million other views just across the channel, which was a crazy month. It was really great to see. Yeah.
Yeah. What's it like reading all the comments and stuff, even like before you blew up, like, with the smaller views?
That's the biggest change with this. And that's that like I got kind of cozy being the small channel with like loyal fans. Everyone was always like, dude, I can't believe no one watches this, and I always said that. I'm like, what would I be like, how would I feel if I stumbled across a channel like mine and it just wasn't getting any attention? So beforehand, I got cozy being able to have these loyal fans. Like, I knew everyone in my comment section, like that there was a lot of frequent commenters, and I'd respond, if somebody sent me a DM or something, I could actually be like the creator that talks to people, and that was exciting. And I think very quickly with the blow up, I realized like that's out the window. Like I can't read nearly all the comments, and I can't respond to like any messages. I have like 300 Instagram DM requests, and every now and then I'll click, scroll to a random one, click it, and respond just because it's kind of fun. But I try my best to get used to that new feeling of you can't respond to everyone. Eventually your audience becomes kind of such a big kind of adjacent bubble, and they kind of there's like a satisfaction with interacting with the other fans of somebody you like when they're too big, like because I comment on videos of some people that are really big, and I never have that expectation that they'll see it. It's more like people within the comment section are. So I guess I tell myself that to be more comfortable ignoring so many people because naturally I want to read them all, and naturally I will want to respond to all the private messages I get just because I'd like to be that guy, but then I wouldn't make content ever again because that would be a full-time job. And but the one thing is I do read like I scroll through at night when I'm lying in bed, or when I first post a video I keep watching them, and I'm pretty shocked. It's mostly positive, I'm a pretty optimistic guy, but even I'll admit that like the internet can be kind of a cesspool of trolls and people just trying to get you upset. And like when you're a small channel, it sucks when you get a mean comment for no reason. Somebody just saying this sucks. It's like, why do you comment that? I don't have anyone commenting, and now you're ruining my day. But like now it's like 1 out of 1,000 comments is negative, and it's so easy to brush off. So that's something that you can't overrate as a big creator. You're like, oh, now I don't get my day ruined if somebody says this sucks. Now I just see it and I'm like, fuck you. And then you move on, you know?
So why did you start a YouTube channel in the first place? Do you remember like the first moment where you were like, I'm going to start uploading?
That was a long time ago. The funny thing is, this isn't my first channel. I've done a lot of YouTube over the years. I've been making films since I was like 8 years old. Grabbing my dad's like picture camera and recording clips on there. Or we had like one of those tape cameras, the mini DV cameras, and we like when I was 8, we were just making stuff nonstop. And I think my biggest inspiration was like early YouTube. I loved watching Smosh and stuff before it became like a corporate empire. Smosh, it's at least like when it was like just guys having fun, and you see that and you're like, wow, I can do that as a kid. I love that sort of inspiration it could bring. And so I created my first channel back in like 2006 or 2007. And that's a real deep dive. Maybe I'll share it sometime. But that was mostly like Pivot animations and stuff like that. Remember Pivot, the stick figure animator software? Yeah, I did some of those. And then I had a gaming channel where I would do Garry's Mod animations. That's one of the hidden facts about me that I think no one would expect, but I had a couple Garry's Mod animations with like tens of thousands of views. So that was my biggest success on YouTube. And what else did I have? I had like a middle school. I had like a web series with my friend. So it's really not my first channel, but I did make this channel 10 years ago now. The official Joel Haver channel. And for years it was called Making Shorts. And I think the impetus for this channel was I didn't really have a place that was just my own to upload my short videos. All the channels I had in the past were very themed and niche. They had like a broader concept, or they were shared with my brother and my friends. And so I think this channel was like mine to just post whatever I want. And yeah, that was how it came to be.
Cool. Do you have like a favorite YouTuber or a filmmaker?
YouTuber, I like a lot of smaller stuff. I'm always somebody who like gets a lot more joy out of supporting people I know and my friends' stuff. So like regardless of quality, I'll probably have a better time watching like my friend's video than I do like a big guy's video. A big guy. Now I'm a big guy. I don't even feel like a big guy, but so like, you know, I like stuff like your stuff I always enjoy, but like the you know, we had kind of like a circle of people who all create, you know, like Be Back Whenever, uh, $5 comedy. Lots of people were creating, and that I like those people a lot just because it felt like a community, and a lot of those people were kind of my loyal fans during the years of not getting views. So, but then my friends make stuff, and I love that stuff. My friend Jack Gordon has his own channel called Richard Pumpaloaf, and that's ridiculous. And then some random scattershot ones. Connor O'Malley, he's crazy. I'm not sure if you know him.
I don't.
Yeah, he's a pretty insane lunatic kind of guy in a good way. Like he his stuff is pretty shocking. It's like kind of that shocking, um, gross, sometimes gross out, but he's fun. Uh, then there's some tried and true I always come back to. You know, I'll always watch like a Donkey video game Donkey. He's fun.
Yeah, he's a classic.
Anyone that you get a feel that it's like their genuine personality, I really like. You know, I feel like Donkey is very genuine at the end of the day. You know, he's very much himself, and that's what I really connect to with content creators.
Yeah. Well, this sort of segues a little bit into a conversation I wanted to bring up. And in the other interview you did about a year ago, I forget his name, but it sparked something. I thought it sounded so good. You said YouTube is the last place where the artist is alive in filmmaking, and I thought that was like so good because like that's like part of why I love YouTube so much is because like it's not necessarily about one specific video that is like super amazing and super like crazy. It's about like all of the videos, and it's about the person behind the videos. And like I feel like, you know, people like Donkey and yourself and Gus Johnson, like, you know, it's you're sort of like creating something that is like a, I don't know. It feels like a better YouTube almost, you know, that's not just trying to get clickbait like views and be super crazy like Jake Paul or anything like that. It feels new, and it feels like a new wave of like filmmakers. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's something I'm incredibly passionate about. I definitely, yeah, I know you went to film school, right? Because you had a thesis film on your channel. Yeah. Um, I went to film school, and you're kind of fed the one path of create a short, send it to festivals. It gets into festivals. Then you get funding for your feature. You send that to festivals, and that's like the best case scenario. That doesn't happen for 95% of people, you know? But like that's kind of the only path they told me, and I'm kind of still shocked to this day that like I paid, and all these people paid to go to a school, and not once did they recommend YouTube as a potential route for filmmaking. Like not a single professor was like, here's this thing that like, and it's not even just like creative freedom. YouTube I love for the creative freedom, but even just for the money. If you succeed on YouTube, you make way more than you would ever make directing for a studio. So it's like, it's not even like a practical, like, you got to do this to have a practical career. Because I think YouTube, if you have the passion and drive, is the most practical career in filmmaking right now. And it's so funny to me that no one brought that up. And like what you were saying about the artist being alive, what I said, I guess, but is that people don't go to movies anymore. I mean, in general now, but like people don't go to movies or watch a movie on Netflix and be like, wow, I love that movie by whoever, Alfonso Cuarón, or I think I gave the same example last time. People don't, most people don't say that. People do, but most people don't. Most people say, wow, what a great movie by Netflix. You know, what a great movie by Marvel or Disney. The artist has like died in that way because it's so corporatized that there isn't like an auteur of cinema anymore in those spheres. We've kind of whittled it down to the production companies. Even A24 runs into that problem. It's like most people are like they treat it like a creative entity, and it's like A24 exists to make money. They're not like talk about the filmmakers and the artists, not the money men. But but I YouTube is like that last place where there is that face recognition. There is that name recognition. Like you were saying, you're not just creating a single video, or it's not just like this is all they're going to see and move on. It's like there's an understanding with YouTube that the thing you're watching is on a channel, and that channel is created by someone, you know? And so if you like that thing, you could click on the channel, subscribe to it, look at their other stuff, and then that way the channel is as a whole the artwork. You know, the channel as a whole is the thing. And that's why I post such a wide variety of stuff, because I want the channel to be kind of an accurate portrait of who I am. You know, me and my style and my sense of humor and my personal life. And I think that's such a beautiful thing that only YouTube could capture, because it's like, oh, this guy's making me laugh here, he's making me cry here, he's making me smile here. And I think, you know, there's such like a distance in any other venue of filmmaking. There's such a like pay for a ticket, move on, the artist will never know, you know. But YouTube, you could comment, you could support them directly, and like I on Patreon or something. There's like a, and then they see your name, and then they could put your name in the video if that's how they do it. It's just like there's so many venues now online that are just so much more interesting in every way that it blows my mind that film school doesn't pitch you them, or doesn't even pretend they exist, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I really feel like we're sitting on like the new film industry. Like it started maybe, 10 or 15 years ago when YouTube and video internet started happening. But like 20 years from now, like no one is going to be talking about like, okay, so you need to do your distribution at the festivals. Like it's going to be off the table completely. Like we're going to be talking about TikTok and YouTube and Instagram video and shit. Like this is the future.
And I think there's like a fundamental misunderstanding, like a fundamental, what's the word? It's a connotation with YouTube that I don't think has to exist. You know, people think YouTube is, oh, vlogging. They're sitting in front of the camera and talking, but technology is so accessible nowadays. YouTube can be indistinguishable from theaters. It could be like you could make stories and films and movies and documentaries, and I think there's just such a bad word with YouTube, and there are a lot of people that you run into that are like, oh, that's not film, that's video. And it's like, is Avengers not video? Avengers isn't shot on film. They shot that on, yeah. It's like, so it's like, I think film is a more encompassing word, and I just choose to use it because it signals to the medium, you know. Video feels like a subsection, and yes, everything on YouTube is video, but I think it's also film. And I think semantics is the worst discussion ever. Just, oh, this term is wrong, this term is wrong, and people who talk about semantics just don't have anything interesting to actually say. But I think the range of what can be created on YouTube is unlimited, way more so than anything in a theater. Because to get to a theater, you need the sheen of professionalism, and you need the sheen of polish and expense, you know. And like, you won't see something in a theater that isn't trying to be perfect. And YouTube allows for this realm where things don't have to be perfect and they don't have to be professional and they don't have to be expensive, you know? Like, and, you know, I'm not talking out my butt. I have 7 features on my channel, and like, my latest one costs $0. You know, it's not, and people, I've loved to see people commenting on that. That's really, that's such a personal piece, and I love to see people commenting on that. But yeah, you can't make stuff is all I'm saying, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's something that I want to see more people do. Like iDubbbz did it a few times. Like he would drop like, you know, I think he's dropped 2 almost feature, like 50, 55-minute films, which is like that should be like something that like more creators want to like aspire to. Like no one really wants to, I mean, well, some people want to just grind out 3 or 4 videos a week, but like I feel like creators like creating, and sometimes you want to just like make something really big and really complicated, or you know, like any sort of scale. Like it's all available on YouTube when it's not in all of those other forms.
I think there's a danger with success on YouTube that I've noticed with a lot of bigger channels, especially as they get bigger, is there's a very strong tendency for people to kind of become apathetic, you know? And I think that's a lot of channels are like one trick ponies, you know? They're like, this is the thing people like, so let's just do it hundreds of times. And I think there's like, should be, and iDubbbz, I really love to see him putting out big stuff like that, because like he's such a voice on the platform. And he's clearly somebody who's driven to do something because he loves to do it, you know?
Exactly.
Because all of his fans just want him to spew edgy nonsense all day. And it's refreshing to see him almost become more wholesome and pursue something with a little more humanity. But
even like his like series with like the, I don't know how much you watch him, and I don't watch him that much either, but like he did like the thing with like the squirrels in his backyard, like which was kind of that was really silly, and like but it felt very much of him just like having fun and like playing with shots and stuff like that, and so it is good to see them doing stuff like that.
Yeah, I think that there's a danger of falling into that apathetic hole where you just create what you're comfortable creating. But I just think it's because we don't have enough voices pushing that, you know? Enough people coming on the platform being like, I'm going to do this and that and this, and I'm going to do this and it's going to suck, but at least I tried, and I'm going to do this and it's going to be awesome, and I don't know why, but, you know, like, I think YouTube has everything right now except enough people pushing everyone else to be more ambitious. I think that the vast majority of the big creators on YouTube have kind of settled into a rut, accepted that this is what they're going to do till the paychecks stop coming in. And I think people like iDubbbz, and I'm not even sure, I don't watch enough of him either. I've only really seen the documentaries lately, but people like him taking that step to be like, let's try this, or let's like just take risk and do stuff like that. And I think YouTube is going to become this new realm for filmmaking. If you just have enough of those people doing that, and then enough people watching being like, hey, I want to try that. And then, you know, more people grow big, like blow up overnight because they make something ambitious rather than just trying to make another daily vlog, or just trying to make another, you know, another makeup tutorial, you know, people.
And you never know when like that one random one is just gonna like connect with people in some sort of way, and you know, change the channel forever, like those animations. Talk to me about Burnout. You've made 400 uploads on your channel so far, and you know, it's maybe 100 plus a year. Or give or take. I'm not exactly sure what the numbers are, but it's definitely a lot. Like how do you do that?
Yeah, I'd like to say, so I'm going to give the sad answer, which I think is some people are just not, they don't have that in them. They don't have the passion and they don't have the drive to just do something because they love it. And that's the sad answer, and I don't want to believe that answer. The other answer is I committed to doing weekly uploads, and if I don't upload every week, I'm going to be really disappointed in myself. So then you grow an audience and you're going to disappoint your audience. And I've said this before, but I don't want to create the idea like my growth, like my persistence was based around fear of disappointment, because that's not what happened. But just if you hold yourself to a personal metric like weekly uploads, and you have a strong enough will to go through with it, you're going to just get to a point where you're doing it because you love it. You're going to get to a point where you're like, you've proven to yourself you can do it, so now let's just do it some more. Once you're no longer seeing if you can, and you reach the point where you can and you're doing it, I think the persistence comes naturally, And I actually did a week of short films every week in 2015 to 2016, and I held myself to doing a video every week that year. And I think that was the fastest I ever grew as a filmmaker, because that point I was pretty inexperienced as well. For until college, I only ever filmed on like handy cams and stuff. I never used microphones and that year was like a boot camp for like just the technical stuff. Even like, not only was I getting better at telling jokes and telling stories and doing dialogue and editing, but just like, the technical stuff that doesn't interest me so much, like cinematography. It's funny to hear that, because if you watch my videos, a lot of them look great, but that's just because I've done it enough. It's not because I'm somebody who's obsessed with gear and obsessed with making stuff look pretty. And it's just because if you do it enough, you happen to get good at even those things. Because I just like making me and my friends laugh, and then it's like a nice bonus that the videos can look nicer, be funny and beautiful at the same time. But yeah, I think that's really what it boils down to. Just set some sort of goal for yourself that you can prove to yourself, because I've always been somebody who kind of, almost to a fault, I don't like 0 days. I don't like days where I get nothing done. I feel like crap at the end of them, so I do everything in my power to get something done every day. And that's kind of in my character, so that combined with the other thing probably is what allowed me to create for so long without any notable return. But yeah.
Yeah, no, and I think going back to that sad answer you gave at the beginning, like I think that you're right. Like, unfortunately, some people, like it's just like it's difficult, and mental health is pretty bad in America and all around the world, really, with young people nowadays, and it's it is unfortunate. But I think that schedule thing and just discipline over motivation really is a key for some people. Has there ever been any like Tetris effect with your filmmaking, like where you're making so much that like reality and your work sort of like
Well, I'm not sure if you've watched my my film like Pretend That You Love Me or Island. Yeah. So some of those films are very literally what you're talking about, where they're very meta, and they're about the filmmaking and about the creating of the films. But as far as the goofy shorts and stuff go, I'd say the only thing I've noticed is, like, for better and worse, there's a lot of people in my life that I only see when we're going to make something, and it's because I'm making stuff all the time. And, part of me, I have like anxiety, like I hope they don't think that this is all it's just like I have this innate want to create. And like, so there are some friendships that it's just like that becomes all we do. And I I try. I think sometimes I should take a step back and like maybe just sit around and watch TV or something, or sit around and watch a movie. I don't watch any TV or any. I like movies though, but I need yeah. I think that might be what you're talking about, the Tetris effect, where I am somebody who creates so much that it's pretty well in every aspect of my life. The creation is one and the same, and I think that that's something that I both love, because it's like awesome to have these friends who you meet up and goof around, and you have something to show for it, and it's awesome, and you know, and yeah, it's just something you have to strike a balance with. And now that I'm bigger, I think I need to even learn that balance more, perhaps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would you say is like your you've sort of touched around this subject a decent amount already, but like what's your favorite part about making movies?
I think it's got to be just well, all my stuff is improvised. Like I haven't written anything in years, and I think that is my favorite part. Cause I was gonna say the collaborating, like the shooting, where me and my friends are just cracking each other up and making it up, and somehow by some miracle it always turns into something, but then that negates all the films I make alone, and I still love doing those too. So I guess it boils down to even just making myself laugh, because a lot of them I do make just myself, and you got to be able to make yourself laugh. And I think filmmaking has honed that skill for me, where I can almost be my own entertainment sometimes. Like you're having a lonely night or a sad night. It's like turn on the camera, pretend you're in some old movie or a Western, crack yourself up, and then you have something to work on for the next day or two. And, I think it's that it does fill that hole. It kind of creates even in the loneliest times, I have these abilities now where I could make something out of it. And whether that be with friends or alone, I think that's the best part of filmmaking, just being able to not escape. I don't like to use the word escapism, because I think all film relates to some sort element of reality in some way. So I don't think you're escaping. You're just embracing the good times, I guess, or embracing the laughter, and even when you're sad. And I think that was one of the big things that got me through my dad's passing, is I didn't stop. I think that's the only time I missed a weekly upload, but even then I like missed it by like a day or two, because I'm like, the last thing my dad would want was for me to stop doing what I love, just because I'm bummed out. You could still be funny when you're sad. My dad was the funniest person in the world with like stage 4 cancer. So I think you got no excuse not to make yourself laugh, and filmmaking is a great outlet for that.
Yeah, it is. Was your dad a filmmaker?
No, he was just he acted and collaborated with me so much. We just did it. I kind of suckered him into the whole thing, and then he loved it. We just did it together. He's a super creative guy. He was a cabinet maker. He was an artisanal cabinet maker. He was super good at that. But yeah, he was such a naturally funny and social guy that you could throw him in anything. And the funniest thing I remember is because he would always want to make a film with whoever we were with, which is kind of my thing as well. And he brought back like I think he was a guy from Colombia. My dad went to the bar and he met this Colombian man who was just drunk off his ass, and he brought him home, and he's like, we got to get Roman in the film. And Roman was just totally, and I'm like, who is this man you just brought home? I wish we got him in the film, but the guy was totally out of it. But so my dad he was all in, to him it was our channel. I see a lot of comments like, oh, he really helped you. I'm like, I don't know. I think we just were doing this together, because he saw it as like our group project, and there's nothing he would have wanted more than it to succeed like it has. And yeah.
Yeah, you guys have like such good like chemistry like in all your videos. It's just it's a I expected him to like have, I mean, I'm sure he did have a lot of influence on your like comedy style, but like that one film like Son, where he's like playing your son, like that, it's hilarious.
Yeah. That's one of my favorites. I purposely had that pinned on the channel as kind of the until I until something else happens. I'll probably always have that on the front page of the channel, just because I think it's the perfect introduction. It's accessible and weird at the same time, and it's like that one is really, I think that might be his and I's best, but it's hard to say. But I think
I feel like we've talked about like making art for art's sake and how like important that is, and like how that's like a big part of your channel, like a big part of like what makes good YouTubers nowadays. I'm not sure what question to ask, but can you think of something else to say around that? Like just making art for art?
I think what I've said recently with the blow up is that I'm almost thankful to not have blown up for so long, because it made me really good at deriving fulfillment just from the creation itself, because like I said, I did reach a point where I never expected views. I'd make like something I love and I think is amazing, and I'd just be like, I'll get a couple hundred views, that's okay. And I think I'm not saying like, obviously your goal, if you want to be a full-time YouTuber and your goal should be to get views as fast as possible so you can actually like quit your stupid job and actually live off of YouTube. But at the same time, there is value in floundering, and there is value in like not succeeding for so long, because if you get through that, you could do anything. If you create for like months or years and you just keep doing weekly uploads, even though you're getting like 100 views a video, I think you're pretty invincible in a lot of ways. And I think that might be the ultimate test to see if you have what it takes. Personally, I'm not saying like I'm testing you. I'm saying like to see if you yourself have what it takes, if you could overcome that level of discouragement and still want to create. I think that's a beautiful thing.
Awesome. If you were to show one of your films to someone, which one would it be? Both short and feature.
I guess I sort of answered it already with the Son one. I put the Son on the front page because I think it is a good balance of it somehow is simultaneously as weird as my films get, but also as like normal and human and grounded as my films get, because the editing is chaos. I shot it on a nice camera and a VHS camera at the same time and just overlapped them for no reason. And that cracks me up. I think that's like a great introduction, and for the shorts. And it shows my dad, who's such a huge influence. And I think, yeah, I would choose that. I don't think there's another one that comes to mind. And then for the features, I'd recommend Pretend That You Love Me, just because I think that is my most successful, like in terms of the artistic kind of congruity of it. Like I think everything kind of thematically ties together and is successful in what I wanted to do. And because I'm somebody who I both love and hate artifice. Like I love artifice because it can be used to expose the fakeness of it, if that makes sense. I love artifice because without artifice, you wouldn't have anything to compare the realness to, And I think Pretend That You Love Me is my least artificial, most real, And yeah, from there I'd recommend Island. I think Island is the closest to Pretend That You Love Me. And I think from there it's just watch the rest. Another order would be chronological. You can watch it that way from when I started and see me grow if you want to see that. But yeah, I'd say Sun and Pretend That You Love Me. Those are the starting points.
Cool. It's interesting how you were like talking about like artifice and then also about how real Pretend That You Love Me is. And it's like, it feels like, like a dichotomy going on there, which is really interesting.
Yeah, the word real. Who's to say what real means? When I say real, I mean it's truthful. Real is a complicated word because what does real mean? It's like who's to define what's real and what's not. But there's things that ring as true. When I watch like my favorite movies, there's something that feels true about what they're saying, no matter how weird or abstract. I connect with something that feels real in that sense. That feels like this relates to how I have experienced life in some way, and I think Pretend That You Love Me is my closest to achieving that sort of connection.
I have a couple smaller things after this, but what's next?
I don't know. It's really it's easy to get caught up in like the storm of messages and stuff, and I've gotten some pretty exciting messages. Oh, 1 second, my audio recorder just died. So if we choose to edit it, I'll act like you just asked it. Okay. I think I'm just gonna keep doing what I was doing. It's easy to get in your head and be like, oh, this is getting views. People like this. A lot of people just want the animations, and those take so much work and are so many hours of just solitary confinement editing, and that would kill me if I only did those. So I'm not going to. But the truth is, it's just like doing whatever the hell I wanted got me here, so I'm just gonna keep doing that. Whatever ideas inspire me, whichever make me and my friends laugh, and I'm gonna keep doing that. Eventually, soon enough, actually, I am gonna be moving and figuring out where I want to go next. So that's a whole process I'll get to once, and I'll probably make a video about that once that is coming up. But
You think it'll be like a vlog type?
Something of the sort. My vlogs are kind of a little weird, but I've done a couple in the past where I just kind of talk to the camera. I guess what's next is just keep doing whatever I was doing because it worked. Whatever it was worked. So, yeah.
Sounds perfect. If someone was like, if some movie producer was to be like, I got $3 million. You want to make a movie with a big crew, big everything?
Big crew, absolutely not. No. There's few things on earth I hate more than a big set. I've been a PA, I've been on sets of Friends that take 14 hours to get one scene shot. And I'm just like, there's nothing more miserable because it's just so contrary to how I make my art. I like all my films, I don't have any crew members. It's just me and my friends. Whoever you see on camera is who's there. I never want to make a film where very few. There are exceptions, like one or two, like my friend Max and I. Max doesn't get on camera much, but he did the if movies got to the point in a timely manner. That one where it's like the opening to like a Disney Channel movie. That might be the only one in the last year that had somebody that wasn't on camera working, wasn't in front of the camera working some of the gear. But yeah, I really despise role-based filmmaking. I hate, this guy's the cinematographer, so he only touches the camera. This guy's the gaffer, so he only touches the lights. And then you wind up with all those people standing around for 5 hours out of a 8-hour day because they've done their part or they're not needed right now. And it's just such an anti-collaboratory environment. You know, like for my stuff, I just like none of my friends went to film school, and their whole filmmaking experience is just making stuff with me. But like if I'm on camera for a shot with a friend, I just hand them the camera and say, do it, you know. And you know, you need to let go of the want to be perfection, like for everything to be perfect in that way. But a lot of the times my friends frame stuff in a funnier, weird way because they don't have all this hard-boiled rule of thirds, 180-degree rule. And I like that. I'm like, I have all this stuff cooked into my head from film school, and then you hand your friend the camera and who doesn't have that kind of a formal teaching experience, and then they do something interesting or weird, and it's like, oh, that works. That's funny. Like my head's at the bottom of the screen or something. And I'm like, oh, that's fine. That's funny. And I think I'd much rather that loose, imperfect, everyone does everything environment, to the point that if I just couldn't. I couldn't be on a big set, especially in charge, because I'd hate to know I was doing that to people. If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it does. It does. There was one. I shot a feature in 2012. It's terrible.
Yeah.
But the going through that experience and making someone sit out in the sun for 8 hours, like while we're shooting something else, it was like, it changed the way I think about filmmaking. Like I was like, oh my gosh, like I can't this is people's time and like energy, and like it's a.
If you're gonna have people come there to create something, let them create something. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Don't make them be your pawns that, you know. And then there's like pawns with their own pawns. Like when you're a PA on a set, anyone with a slightly higher title suddenly thinks they could tell you to go get them a water or something. You know, it's like, go get me a water. I'm busy standing next to the camera. You know, it's just like it's like a servant dynamic. If you're a PA, it's like, it's such a weird thing. And yeah, I couldn't. If somebody came to me and they're like, here's $50 million, make a movie, I'd be like, there's very few people, especially if it was some money man coming to me, some corporate dude who like just handles the finances. I'd turn that down in a second. The only exceptions are if genuinely creative people wanted to collaborate with me, I'd entertain the idea. You know, but if it was just somebody like, we like what you do, here's money, which is like, that's what Tom Green did in Freddy Got Fingered. I'm not sure if you saw that. They gave him kind of a blank check just because he was famous. And he just made the worst movie ever as a joke. It's really good. I love that movie.
I gotta check that out. I didn't know he just got paid a shit ton of money just to make it for no reason.
Yeah, just because he was famous off of MTV, they're like, hey, make a movie. And then he's like, I've never made a movie. So then he made a horrible movie. And
that's awesome.
It cracks me up. That movie's hilarious.
Yeah. On the flip side of the of that like industry conversation, if like Adult Swim came up to you and was like, we love what you're doing, don't change a thing, but we're just gonna put it on Adult Swim now, what would you say?
I'm in such a good place with YouTube. I don't know what that would offer me, because even on Adult Swim, it's very rare that the artist comes out the other side. You know, there's very few examples like Tim Heidecker, like Tim and Eric Andre, like, but a lot of Adult Swims, especially the animated ones, just kind of get lumped into the Adult Swim. Like you couldn't, like people couldn't tell you, at least I couldn't tell you who made like Aqua Team or like Xavier Renegade Angel. So even like the successful ones kind of just become Adult Swim shows. You know, people are like, oh, that's an Adult Swim show rather than the creator's show. So not only is YouTube supporting me, and I get to maintain total independence and I don't have to answer to anyone, and I get to post my stuff at whatever frequency I want, and I get enough money that I could live, and you know, it's just like, I don't know what Adult Swim would offer me. And a lot of people are commenting that, like, on the animations, like, dude, this guy needs an Adult Swim show. And it's a compliment. Like, it's definitely a compliment because I like Adult Swim as much as the next person, especially as far as TV networks go. But yeah, I just don't think I don't see why I would do it versus like yeah, I don't know. I think it's easy for me to say that from where I am. I think if I was at 50,000 subscribers where it wasn't as sustainable, it'd be harder to say no to that. But like where I am now, it is like kind of like, what? No, I like doing what I'm doing, and I did put in all these years of work, so I never did have to answer to anyone, and I could just be my own boss and have creative freedom, and you know, I don't want to throw that away.
Yeah, cool. Okay, I don't think I really have any other questions other than just like a general. What do you think about TikTok?
I think TikTok is like my friend Patrick had one, and when last we saw each other, we just made a bunch, and I think the best thing about TikTok is it is the ultimate place to just make something and get it out. Like we would literally pick up the phone and 2 seconds later have like a 40-second video we could show people. Like 2 minutes. It takes like 2 minutes to make something and then it's already posted. Shooting on a camera and uploading to YouTube, it's always a process. Whereas TikTok is literally all in one app. You edit and upload, and I think the lame thing about TikTok is most of the big creators clearly edit off of TikTok and then upload, it's to do fancy editing and effects and but I think the funnest part of TikTok is just that, like, what can I make with these like super limited tools? And I really like that, and I like when people get creative with that.
Cool.
Yeah,
that's something I kind of like about TikTok too, is that like I feel like in a few years we're gonna see like that be like its own generation of filmmakers that like started with TikTok, and like they're like, oh shit, you can play with the timing and like you can cut, and like people will grow their own interest just making movies just from there, which might be interesting.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's easy to hate on. I think it's one of those internet like punching bags. They're like, damn, I hate TikTok. It's like, why do you hate it? It's like, because people are having fun. Because like, it's like, yeah, China's stealing your information, but it's like, so is your government. So is it like, it's like I don't. It's like, I don't know. It's tough to say.
Yeah. No. So you don't post on TikTok. I found that channel, or I don't know what you call it on TikTok, that creator person. Like I saw you on someone else's.
Yeah. That's my friend Patrick. Yeah. I have a account just to like stuff my friends make, but I don't post. I really want to be centralized on YouTube, and I don't want a bunch of social media sites to manage. Like that's a big reason why my Instagram is just me every time I eat spaghetti with friends, because I don't want to be creating Instagram versions of all my films and uploading them, or uploading clips and having a whole marketing team manage my Twitter and like I don't use Twitter. I barely use Instagram. It's just I think I'm better off putting all my energy into one really good thing rather than spending time attracting energy to that thing but taking away from it simultaneously by focusing on other platforms.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I think that was one of the things I was gonna like give you advice on. I was actually gonna say you should focus on some of those things in some way.
Yeah, I was so close. I will tell you, literally end of November, I was so close to starting like uploading some of my shorter stuff to TikTok, or creating trailers or teasers of some of the stuff on TikTok. I was so close, and then the blow up happened. I'm like, oh, I guess I don't need that. So yeah, so I was close to actually like focusing on that stuff, but at this point I don't need it, so I'm fine. But I agree, it could be useful down the line. I might just start like tweeting out every time I have a new video or something, just
Yeah. The reason why I think it's like pretty important is just because like there's a lot of I don't want to call it like instability, but like if YouTube were to hypothetically explode tomorrow, like
Yeah.
those 600,000 followers are like gone, and you wouldn't be able to like connect with them again. And so like
Yeah.
just saying at the end of every video, these are my socials, and then just saying I just took a poop like every Saturday or whatever, like just giving them a little tiny bit of like tweets, like
Yeah, there
just
is
helps keep
that
your audience
fear.
together.
There's that fear that YouTube could implode, but at the same time, it's so stable and it's like one of the biggest sites on the internet. And yeah, I do create backups of all my films, and I try to keep the files and stuff. And I don't know, it's hard. TikTok's only a minute, so I can't really back up everything, you know. But I could try, and no one likes Twitter's video player. The problem is I would never upload my content other places because I kind of want the views and comments and discussions to all be on YouTube. You know, the last thing the last thing I want is like 50,000 followers here that don't even know about here, you know, and then
Right. That makes sense. I'm just like I'm hoping in 5 years I'll be able to be like a social media manager and just like work with, 20 or a dozen different content creators about different sort of
Yeah.
stuff. So this was just me being like acting as that sort of person, just being like
Yeah.
like think about those sort of things, because you could
Yeah, it's,
like just talking about like TikTok, you could pay someone like a kid in high school 20 to $50 an hour just to cut little 60-second clips from your videos and just put them on TikTok, and that's just like
Yeah.
another stream of like revenue and audience that could just be operating, and you don't even have to do anything else. They
Yeah.
could just cut your current videos.
it comes back to the film set thing where I never want somebody involved directly in my art that is doing it just for the money. I never want that relationship where I hire someone. Like I always want to be my own editor. I always want to be my own. And that's just my prerogative. Like that's what I want, you know. But I don't want a relationship where somebody is my employee in that strict of a sense, where they just have one job and they do it, you know. Maybe down the line my channel can support my friends and I, but even then I wouldn't want it to be like they're working for me. You know, I wouldn't want that dynamic, you know, because that's like, and YouTube does fall into that trap a lot where it does become corporate as channels get too big. But I think you can maintain your independence and create kind of a healthier, more collaborative system within that. So
Yeah, there are like I've heard people talking about how larger channels like what's the one, Dude Perfect and like Smosh, like once they reach a
Yeah.
certain level, they're not YouTube channels anymore. Like they're full on media companies. Like they're
Yeah.
producing stuff. Like
I hadn't watched Dude Perfect in a year, and I just saw like on the trending page the other day they had like a whole like it looked like an ESPN like reporting desk, and I'm like, what the fuck is that? They're like all sitting around a desk with like a Dude Perfect logo like embezzled on the wall, and I was
yeah,
like,
it's a whole
I'm
lot.
like, it gets too big. I never want to be like that. That's not interesting to me.
Cool. Do you like
Yeah.
do you like Mega 64? Have you seen their sort of business operation?
I've watched. I don't know how they work, but I've watched their stuff pretty casually over the years.
They're
Yeah.
kind of like in that like middle ground of like they like technically as a small business they like sell merch and they have employees, but like they're um like they've been making the same sort of stuff for 12 years now. Like they're very
Yeah.
very like stick to their guns, don't really corporatize kind of stuff. So I mean maybe that would be like they would kind of I don't really know what your channel is going to look like in a few years, but
Hopefully not too different.
yeah, hopefully not too
Yeah.
different, but it's
Yeah.
super exciting to have this opportunity for you, and I sent this in one of your in one of the messages, one of the few messages I sent to you trying to get in contact with you. But like if there was anyone from that like content club Discord that we had that was gonna blow up and like get all the success, it was gonna be you. So it's I'm super proud of you, man.
you. Thank you, man. It does mean a lot. It's it's a crazy time. Crazy time. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah.
Well, I know you said that you don't want to hire anyone, but if there's anything that I can do just to help you out, like if you're like,
I think
going
to
out of
help
town.
me out, you got to make more Will Barker content.
Okay.
That's how you got to help me out. I got to see more of that.
Okay.
I ran out of your videos to share, so because they ban you for sharing too much of the same thing. So you gotta make more Will Barker content to help me.
Awesome. Well, I'll catch you around, man. Thanks again.
Yeah. Have a nice day.
You too. Bye.
Bye bye.
We did it, chat. We did it. We did it, chat. Is anyone here? Is anyone here? I was so goddamn nervous for that shit. Holy shit. Fuck. I was surprised about how adamant he was about not changing anything, but I loved that. That was super cool that he just didn't care. And I was like, work for A24, work for Adult Swim, put your stuff out there on Twitter and Instagram and TikTok. And he was like, no, no, no. So that's good. That's good. I think he's in a good place. I think he is going to kill it. Nothing's going to change, which is exactly what I wanted to happen. So if you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe.